They walked into a big news day with Nick Bosa and the 49ers coming to a contract extension. 5 years, $170 million, $122 million guaranteed, $50 million signing bonuses. All records for a defensive player. Mm-hmm.
Triple crown, Dibs, you called that.
Yeah, triple crown. I thought that he would...
It's actually quadruple crown.
Well, I thought that he would go for and get the triple crown of most average annual value, AAV, most total amount awarded, 170, and the most guarantee. He got all three. And I was saying the whole time, if he wants 35, just give him 35, darn it. And he wound up with 34. Maybe he wanted 35 and they met him at 34, or maybe he wanted 34 and they finally met him there. Either way, this is now done, and we can turn our attention to the last remaining real controversy. They got no kicker. I can't believe you guys aren't outraged about that.
That is a big deal, though.
Well, everybody asks. I mean, that's the question that's running around the building now for the last hour is, are we now controversy-free? And my answer is yes, unless they're 0-1 on Monday. And then it all comes back.
But that'll be at least a football issue.
Yeah. But it's also a much better. It will already be a much better 0-1 than last year's 0-1. Like you can say that today. And well,
that's true.
Barring injury.
Barring injury and barring losing 34-0 or something like that. Yeah, believe me, I know. I was there.
It was there,
pathetic. But no, I think that's the number one takeaway, right? I'm sure everybody is feeling relieved, and the loudest, most controversial offseason for a Super Bowl favorite can now officially come to a close. And all of that is out the window, and it is LFG. Let's play some football.
Trent Williams acknowledged that the Nick Bosa holdout was hanging over the locker room. He said, "I'd be lying to say it wasn't."
How could it not?
I agree. Well,
how could it not? He's their best player.
Well, that's also what JD and I were talking about. It's not just whether the players and the players support Bosa. It's they're getting asked about it every single day. And you know what? It is the biggest topic every single day. So now they don't have to deal with that anymore. Now they can just talk about football and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Then again, being asked about Nick Bosa every day really only lasted like 8 days. Because they were being asked about Trey Lance every day.
That's true.
Until he was traded, and then they had to be asked about Nick Bosa every day, and now they can be asked about the Steelers. And so that is probably a completely welcome thing. I believe Trent Williams speaks for many of them. That's stressful. That's stressful when your best player's not there. Javon Hargrave has told our team on the scene that Fred Warner was screaming running through the locker room when this news came down. They're all, in this particular case, this is one of those cases where I think the team and the fans can all relate to one another. Everybody's been doing the same thing, is just sitting here going, clock's ticking. We got a game on Sunday, and our best player's not here, and this is incredibly uncomfortable. And so now it's just relief. It's relief for everybody.
Well, especially for Fred Warner and for Mooney Ward and everyone else who benefits from Nick Bosa. And you could put Javon Hargrave at the top of that list and Eric Armstead and all the rest of them, because when Nick Bosa's on the field as an offense, you're going to have to either double team him with your offensive line or allocate your running back to chip him in passing downs, because he's coming for your quarterback. And if you're Fred Warner and you know that Nick Bosa's being double teamed and it's a run play, you're probably going to get somewhat of a free run to the ball carrier, knowing that two blockers are going Nick's way or Javon Hargrave's way. And if you're Hargrave, you're thinking, all right, now I can go back to being a pass rusher who can eat, because they're going to have two guys on Nick Bosa. All defensive players today are celebrating in the fact that this is now a done deal.
JD, what is the fact that Bosa's kind of shattered all these guaranteed money, signing bonus, and annual salary? Like, what's the next guy going to get? Because he got $20 million more guaranteed than his brother.
Well, I think it's Micah Parsons, right?
Micah Parsons. Yeah. Great day for Micah.
Is the guy that's going to say, pay me that and a little bit.
Right.
And I think part of the Niners, they didn't want to be that team. I don't think they're that team necessarily. I think this is really a fair deal, what it ended up.
I think it's a good day for a good day for Nick. I don't think that it's an unfair deal. I thought all along if Nick was demanding, we threw that number 35 around. I felt like if he was demanding like 35 or I'm not coming in, to me that was kind of the mark of, dude, you're a little out of line there. But it's not that far below 35. And this is one of the rare, and I think actually as fans we should celebrate this. This is a rare moment in the NFL when a player has a team under the thumb. And it doesn't happen often where a player is already well established as a superstar, is in his mid-20s, a team is in a Super Bowl window, can't really perform at the same level without him. All those factors come together to a point where this guy was able to say, this is my market. We're going to do 8% above the next guy, and we're going to hang out here until you do it. And that's what he was able to do, and he had the the wherewithal to do it.
I mean, it's a great day for the Niners, no doubt about it.
That too.
Yeah, they get the player, and that's the most important part in all of this.
Exactly.
And if it means the 49ers have to make some tough decisions down the line, well, they're probably going to have to make some tough decisions down the line anyway.
But that was going to happen no matter what. If it was 30 or 34, and that was one of my initial reactions, with Mark, we were in our show meeting with the boss, and he said, what do you think? And one of the first things I thought of is something that we'll talk about in 7 months is what happens next year because, and I went through this yesterday, JD, I believe that already under contract without Nick Bosa, they've got 9 players who account for 70% of the salary cap. And I know the cap will go up, so that percentage would go down. But you've got 9 guys making massive money, and now you add Bosa, who makes more than any of those guys. At some point, something's got to give, but for right now, on this Wednesday of week 1, with Pittsburgh coming up on Sunday, you don't have to worry about any of those financial machinations, as Steiny likes to say. And we'll talk to David Lombardi later today about, the structure and how the Niners are going to be able to make this work now and into the future.
And that's big. Because it's not as cookie cutter as just, hey, $122 million guaranteed. Is that wrapped up in some guaranteed bonuses? How is it spread out over the life of the deal? That is going to have a lot to do with the flexibility that the Niners have, and that'll be one of our first questions is once you start to see the framework of this deal, my first question, what does that mean for Brandon Ayuk? And if the answer is yes to Brandon Ayuk, what does that mean for Deebo Samuel? Right? Is there room for all of these people? This is interesting. Ari Meroff just tweeted this out, and this is why the structure of these deals is just so important. The 49ers now have the highest paid defensive end in football, the highest paid running back in football, halfback, the highest paid fullback in football, the third highest paid tight end in football, the third highest paid left tackle in football, the third highest paid linebacker in football, the 6th highest paid defensive tackle in football, and the 7th highest paid wide receiver, with another really good wide receiver due next year. Now, they also pay their quarterback less than anybody on God's green earth.
Oh, jeez.
And so that's a big reason why they're able to do that.
Well, yeah, and moving forward, if Purdy's the guy, they're going to end up having to pay him, and then they're not going to be able to pay all those other guys.
But Purdy's way down the road, though.
Right.
He is.
Way down the road.
He is, but so you got Ayuk coming up at the end of this year.
Yes.
Same situation as Bosa. Well, his extension won't kick in till the following year.
Correct.
Right.
But next year, his 5th-year option, which has already been picked up, I believe, is about $14 million. So if you add the $14 million to the Ari Meroff tweet, which is Bosa's at 30, McCaffrey's at 17, Juszczyk's at 6, Kittle's at 18, Trent's at 27, Debo's sneaky at like 26 or 27 next year. You add up all these names and their dollars and Ayuk, you're damn near at $200 million already with 10 guys. And the cap is at about, 300 and change.
And as you know, with the NFL cap, all that adds up to only $8 million against the cap.
Exactly.
The rest of it is all in envelopes under everybody's bed.
Sure.
So.
I think
it all adds up to I think it's going to come down to Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk. And I think
you think so?
I do.
Yeah.
I've thought that, and we talked about that even a couple weeks ago.
What I think?
And they have Christian McCaffrey now, who I think does a lot of what Debo was doing before. To me, they're going to ride out this year with Debo in great shape. And look, sometimes those decisions are made. Sometimes somebody gets hurt or isn't as good
a lot of it has to do with how it looks this year.
But I think it's set up for Ayuk's the more legitimate receiver. Debo's kind of his own guy. We also have McCaffrey, who's cost controlled. Debo becomes the odd man out.
I also think, before you get to the legal, and Steiny loves when I talk personnel, but they run so much 21 personnel with 2 wide receivers that one of your wide receivers becomes more replaceable. But I also think that George Kittle is a guy, as the 3rd highest paid tight end. You drafted 2 tight ends this year, and you're carrying 4 tight ends, and you got 1 on the practice squad. I think George Kittle's spot might be a little bit more tenuous than people want to think.
See, I think this move is so big that it's going to make Kyle Shanahan realize he doesn't need a fullback. He doesn't. Juszczyk.
Well, he has one on the practice squad who's on a rookie deal.
You've been going, after Kyle Juszczyk
and now everybody's finally coming
years.
around.
He does need a fullback because of the way he likes to run his offense.
All right.
He loves to run 21 personnel, Steiny.
I know that. And I've learned that over the years.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
And he likes to have a fullback that he can actually use in the pass game.
Once every 4 games.
No, maybe twice a game, in fact. But I do think that, he would rather do this than run 11 personnel with 3 wide receivers. He wants to run his stretch zone, his inside zone, his outside zone. He wants the fullback. He wants a tight end who can block, who can also receive. He loves this offense. This is what he wants.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I'd also like to congratulate you guys on the fact that you most likely won't talk any Giants today.
Oh, no, he's going off again.
Again?
Did you hear him yesterday?
I did.
Yeah.
He was
got a little
hot.
bit off no, we're not talking about the Giants.
They're 500 now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Willard went off yesterday. Get to the
70.
Odyssey app to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard you so angry.
And that'll wrap up our Giants talk for today.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
I'll tell you this with the, how everybody's doing the Super Bowl or bust thing. I will say this because there's a sneaky news that came out 45 minutes ago that's going to get lost in all this Bosa stuff. The 49ers, I try not to get too far ahead of myself in these predictions and expectations and whatnot. I'll look at it more in terms of the division. They have very, very, very little reason to not be the NFC West champions this year. The Cardinals are starting a quarterback this weekend. I don't even know who it is. Nobody knows what's going on there. Kyler Murray may or may not play this year, and he's not all that great even when he does. This was fascinating. Sean McVay ruled out, and this is also throw up in your mouth stuff if you grabbed him with the 5th overall pick in your draft. Sean McVay ruled Cooper Kupp out for Sunday's game in Seattle and would not rule out putting him on IR.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, I'm telling you right now, I would not be surprised if Cooper Kupp does not play this year. If you gave me the over-under at 5 games, I'll take the under. I think the Rams and Cardinals are squarely focused on Caleb Williams. And this is a 2-team race in the NFC West.
Mark, I'm going to agree with you. My sources say the Rams are in disarray, that there's nothing going on down there this year, that they're in big trouble.
They're not in disarray. They're totally focused on Caleb Williams.
Exactly. And they're going to out Caleb Arizona because absolutely.
Ooh, that's going to be a race.
Well, and think about it in terms of Sean McVay. And we knew that he had a 9-figure deal to be a TV commentator, and he said no to come back to what?
Right.
To come back to this. And, the Rams have given up so much first-round capital, but now they're in a spot where they finally have their first-round pick again.
They're not saying F them picks this year.
They're saying, fight on.
Keep them picks.
Well,
exactly.
Interestingly, I guess Caleb Williams' dad came out yesterday and said, he may stay in school if he doesn't like the draft environment or the draft atmosphere.
Well,
in other words, if Arizona gets the first overall, I'm staying at USC.
No,
That's
not.
what that means.
No, he's not.
How much money can he make by staying at USC?
I love September idle threats.
Yeah, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and I think the Rams and the Cardinals will probably have that pick, one or the other. So the 49ers, and I don't know about the Seahawks, but probably, I sort of look at these two teams as 4-0.
Wow.
To start the year.
JD thinks that Pittsburgh game may be their toughest game of the year.
Nah, it's not. It's
I don't know about that.
The Cincinnati game's the toughest game of the year.
Well, but that's
I was
here.
thinking Philly.
That's
Home
here.
game.
Yeah,
at Philly.
Cincinnati off a bye.
At Seattle, short week, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Another one.
Yeah.
In the
I
running.
got Cincinnati as a scheduled loss based on the fact that Cincinnati's coming off a bye and the Niners are at the end of a string of consecutive games.
I mean, I'll give JD this, that like none of us know the scenario that's in play when we get to those games.
Sure.
What kind of injuries are in play where we know what the scenario is in Pittsburgh. We know that Nick Bosa is going to have 2 days to get himself ready. We know that Brock Purdy is still a very, very young, unproven product. And we know that Pittsburgh's a very hard place to play, and the Niners are not sure who their kicker is. And if they do have a kicker, they don't know if he can kick the ball through the uprights. Yeah, it's a hard game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we know the
hard
Steelers,
game.
at a minimum, will match the 49ers' physicality.
Yeah, Steelers are good. This is a good
one of
team. Well coached. Yeah.
They are one of the teams that will hit you in the mouth, just like the Niners want to hit you in the mouth and not be afraid of it.
That's just the way they play every year. That whole division is the way they play.
And the Niners will see them all those teams
Yeah,
in that
That's
division.
correct. That's correct.
So, what do you guys got on tap?
Questions at kicker. 888-957-9570.
Let me tell you.
We're on to the next controversy, Steiny. Enough of this Bosa schmosa. Yeah, whatever. He got paid. Who's the kicker? I'm angry.
Well, and
Never
how's the
mind.
kicker going to impact Kyle Shanahan's play calling?
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, that's interesting. They
Yeah.
drafted him
Stay
to
out of
impact.
4th and 1.
Well, they drafted him so that they didn't have to worry about getting inside the 30 anymore.
Right.
In order to get 3. Now I
Yeah.
don't know if they can get 3 even if they're inside the 20.
But
So-
if he can't make 38-yarders, then he ain't going to
Yeah.
try 55-yarders.
Exactly. Well, and if your legs hurt, you're not trying anything. So I don't know how that's going to look. Obviously, that's going to shake out over the first few weeks of the season. But no, there are 1,000 different things to discuss with regard to the Bosa deal, how it came together, when it came together, why did it end up lasting this long? Could that end up being something that plays out as a topic going into this? But I like. Honestly, it's also just a party. Like, I mean, it's relief. I think for a 49er fan, this is the first day since we woke up and they were on their way into Philadelphia for the NFC title game that you can just clear your conscience, clear everything out, and just be excited for an upcoming game. Like, it's just been nothing but like.
Yeah,
Kinda
there's
like
no
junk
drag.
Right.
There's no drag
like
on
you've,
Sunday
you've
morning.
had to
now.
have a machete to get through this offseason, and the weeds are now finally clear. And so that's kind of where my head is today.
No, I agree. I'm going to challenge you guys to take one call today where somebody goes, this is the worst deal I've ever seen. The San Francisco 49ers just made the biggest mistake they've ever made.
That fan is out there. Come on.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's always that fan.
And that,
Right, but-
that fan is a fan looking at next off season, which I promised my partner in our look that I wouldn't do because
Right.
today is about a celebration, and Mark's right about the ultimate palate cleanser because now you have your team. And if you're a Niner fan, you have a team that is in a Super Bowl window, and they are a Super Bowl favorite, not the favorite, but they are a favorite. And you're going to Pittsburgh, a venerable, old, classic destination. It's an amazing opener, so it should be all joy. But there will be some fans saying, "Oh, this deal is untenable, and it's going to be a Debo Samuel farewell tour. And what does this mean for Trent and George and all the rest?" We're going to take that call. But I think Mark's right in terms of today and the tone, and we're big on tone on our show. The tone of the Niner fan is, hell yeah, let's go.
Let me give you another one.
Give it to me.
George Kittle's at practice today.
Oh, nice.
Is he practicing or he's just there?
Practicing. No, he's
How about
practicing. He's got a
Kelsey?
jersey.
How about
Got
Kelsey?
No, Kelsey ain't playing tomorrow.
Nah,
I'm sorry.
no.
Sorry to break
Yeah.
that to you. I mean, I'm not breaking.
You got him on your
breaking it,
fantasy team,
you know.
Steiny? You may,
know,
yeah.
yes.
By the way,
I
it's
don't- yeah.
led to one of the cutest
Yeah.
conversations I've ever had in my life. So,
Oh.
our family did a fantasy league this year.
Who did?
My family.
Okay.
So it's 12 teams, but it's nothing.
Tom
but,
and Ellen.
right. So
His parents.
They've called themselves the Elders. That's the team name.
Oh, they're a team together.
They are a team together. That's what I'm telling you. I'm driving on the Golden Gate Bridge, and they are like every day Mark, how do I get into the app? Where? Now, what do I? It's the most adorable thing of all time. And these elders, they picked Travis Kelce with their first-round pick this year.
They didn't take Jason Kelce?
Tom is like, I've looked at our roster, and Mark, we don't have any other tight ends. And so what am I how do I get out of this? And then Ellen is like, we do have another tight end. He's in our flex spot. It's Gerald Everett. Okay, well, how do I move him? They turn into the Costanzas within 2 minutes every time. And I'm amused by it now. I feel like by week 4, I'm going to hate this, but it's incredibly amusing right now. And so, Steiny, they join you in their Travis Kelce depression
Angst,
at this hour.
The idea that I could pull my family together for a fantasy football league is absolutely preposterous. So congratulations
we did it.
On being able to even do it.
There was a Zoom. There was a lunchtime Zoom on Labor Day.
See, I've got a lot of work to do on the family
we were in multiple time zones, area codes, and I give you one guess whose idea it was and who was the driving force behind this whole thing.
Yours.
No.
The 9-year-old.
No.
Don't say Christy.
The lovely Christy, of course.
I mean, with all due, what?
It's a coordination sensation.
That's a buck.
Does she like fantasy football?
She does now.
And she likes family.
She watched me and my sons lose our minds about this every single Sunday all year, and she went, I want in. Let's go. LFG.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So there it is. The elders. They're going to come in 12th. Their team's unbelievable. They drafted like Eli Mitchell in the 5th round. It's just, it's more adorable than the Sacramento Kings. I'm telling you, people. It's incredible.
All right, well, have a great show. It certainly should be upbeat, and that's one of the reasons I'm out of here. 95.7 again.
Time is done.
Show me the money! Show me the money!